Hey everyone, it's Dominic from the Primetime Treasure eBay store and YouTube channel. Welcome back into another video. In this video, I want to talk to you about an important component to success as a reseller and also for success in whatever it is that you want to do in your life. And that has to do with establishing a routine and sticking with that routine. That's really important to do because especially these days there are so many distractors that can pull us off task, whether that's something that has to do with your family. It could be something regular, like taking your child out to a sports game, or maybe it's driving out to a practice for something, or it could be you have a family member that's ill and you have to do things to take care of that family member. It can be that you have something related to your job, or let's say you're in college and you're watching this and you're starting up into reselling. It could be homework, things you have to study for. And certainly all those things are real important and you need to make sure you attend to those. But you need to also make sure you're carving some time aside for your reselling business and you're doing something related to it every day. Besides the fact that obviously if someone purchases from you and you need to make sure that you ship that out in time or you're going to get in trouble in terms of your seller status on eBay, for example, if that's the venue that you sell on. But regardless of what venue you sell on, Poshmark, Mercari, Bonanza, Amazon FBA, Etsy, that doesn't matter. You want to make sure that you have at least one listing done per day. That is the most important thing I would tell you have to establish as part of your routine. The reason for that, especially with eBay, I'm going to use that as an example because that's really, the most common platform that many of you are using, is that eBay's search engine really values that you have activity on your account every day, or at least most days, compared to what some people do is try to pile up all their listings and do them all on a Friday because that happens to be the day where they are the most free. Now, you certainly can have one day of the week or 2 days of the week where you do more listings than others. So let's say Friday is the day where you do 10 listings or something like that. But at least try to get one listing done every day. There's another reason for that I'm going to tell you to do that. That is that sometimes, in fact many times, you really need your items to kind of marinate out there in cyberspace. So what I mean by that is, even if it's a pretty good item, the chances that someone's gonna snag it up that day and purchase it is low. Now it can happen. Yesterday, for example, I put up 2 Funko Pops in the morning for sale and they were gone within a few hours. But more often than not, what happens is it takes some time for your items to be out there. People are mulling on it, chewing on it, thinking you might lower your price, counter shopping with other sellers to see if they could get a better deal elsewhere, that sort of thing, or maybe they're just hesitant. So it takes people a while sometimes to commit to a purchase, and so your items could sit out there for a week, 2 weeks, or maybe even longer. But the point is that if you have something up every single day, then at some point, at a certain point, like once you cross usually about 50 listings or so, you should be pretty much making a sale almost every day because you have all these items that have been up for varying periods. It's not like they were just all put up on one solid day of the week. So that's really important in making sure that you prioritize yourself getting that done. Now, I gave you the example of listings because I think that's the most important, but you could use this strategy for other aspects of your reselling business. So let's go into listing again for a second and see how we could kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone with this whole thing about establishing a routine for listings. Because let's say you have a big death pile that's piling up, and typically death piles in reselling have to do with clothing piles. Make it your priority then that you're going to not only put up 1 listing a day, but that one listing a day has to be from your death pile. Now, if you could get to another one, you could go outside of that death pile, but you have to at least put one thing up from that pile until you get it down to the point that it feels manageable. So there you kill 2 birds with 1 stone. You get a listing up every day and you've attacked your death pile. And trust me, when you see that death pile reduce, you're gonna feel a lot better. You're gonna feel a lot less stressed. Now for me, just to give you some examples of things that I do have the goal of making sure I have up at least 1 thing per day, and I really try to make it at least 2. or more. So, but at least something. Now, if I'm tired, if I fall asleep and I wake up and it's 5 o'clock in the morning, and I realize, oops, I didn't do a listing today, or I didn't do 2 listings, and I know I have to be at work, for example, at my other job at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, I have a couple choices, right? I could fall back asleep, or I could stay up and I can make sure that I get that listing done. And that's what I do. That's the importance of routine. When you're in that routine and you now have a streak set, okay? So you've done, let's say, 30 days in a row where you have gotten a listing up. Now, we really don't want to break that streak. And that is where you use routine to your advantage, because your mind kind of tells you, I don't want to break it. I want to make sure I keep it going. So that actually serves, that streak and that routine now serves as a form of motivation for you to keep you going. Granted, many of these routines are artificial. I mean, you're putting them onto yourself, but you have to do that. It helps to keep you motivated. One of the things that really kills a lot of eBay businesses is motivation gets sapped over time. It starts out great, but then that's it. Person is gone. Could also be for people who start YouTube channels, for example. Many people start YouTube channels. They get a couple videos done. They're excited. They're pumped up. And, then they just fizzle off and there's no more videos. Now, I started this channel earlier this year, like at the very beginning of the year, very end of last year, like very end of December, I put up the first video. I now have almost 200 videos done. Now, the reason why that's the case is because I've stuck to a routine and really trying to get a video done every night or every day. Now, can I go off track with that? Can I miss one? Is something bad going to happen to me if I don't? No. But if you get thrown off of your routine, the fact that you establish that routine helps you get back onto it, because you want to then, make sure that you get back to where you were so you don't get thrown off the rails too much, because that's what can happen. If something occurs that takes you off of it for a few days, it could be tough to get back onto it. So you really got to remind yourself why it's important and what you were able to accomplish when you did have that routine set. So, I try to get at least one video done a day. In my Facebook group, the Facebook Reselling Resource Center, one of the most important components, I believe, to that group is the be on the lookout item of the day that I post for everybody. And so that's a priority for me, is to make sure that I get that done by the end of the day. And if you've been a member of my group, you know that there's times that I'll post that at 1 o'clock. Often it's 5 o'clock towards the end of a work day. But this weekend, for example, I was out all day sourcing. And then I had a get-together to go to on, I believe it was Saturday or Sunday. I had a get-together to go to at 3 o'clock. We were there till like 8 o'clock, 8:30 by the time we got home. Then there was stuff piled up that I had to make sure that I sorted and got rid of. But before I really got to that stuff, I knew that it was important. It was priority for me to make sure that I got that be on the lookout item done. So I kept going over to it, kept working on it. Now things kept pulling me away as distractors, but I made sure that I kept going back to that, making sure I got that done. By the time I posted it, it was probably 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night. So I just described it as the better late than never be on the lookout item of the day. Point is, I got it done. And having that routine is what allowed me to do that. So there's other examples, you could use and you could think of. You just have to customize it to whatever it is that you do in your reselling business. Or, as I mentioned earlier, no matter what it is that you're doing in your life, have that routine established and make sure that you stick to it, and you will be much, much more successful compared to if you just have no routine. If you're just waking up every day and saying you're just going to do what the day gives you, well, to some extent that's true. You have to do what the day gives you, but you also have to try to impose a structure on top of it, because without it, things just become too chaotic, especially if your reselling business is growing and you're becoming more successful with it. It becomes more challenging to keep up with, and especially too if you're doing multiple things like running a YouTube channel, a Facebook group, an Instagram account, whatever it is. You definitely need to have that routine and order in place to help make it manageable. So I hope that's helpful for you. If you have a question about the routine that I use or questions about how to implement aspects of routine and structure and sticking with it, feel free to contact me and let me know. You could contact me through the YouTube channel down below in the comment section. If you're a member of my Facebook group, the Facebook Reselling Resource Center, which you could join by the link down below in the description section, just go down there, click the link. It'll help you go to a place where you could just hit a join, and then I'll let you into the group. You could contact me through Facebook Messenger. Another area that I haven't talked about too much, I mentioned it I think once before, you can contact me through email, and that is primetimetreasure, no S, primetimetreasure@gmail.com. Now, the reason I'm wearing a Superman shirt today is related to my email address, is because Kevin Vargas, who's a member of the Facebook Reselling Resource Center, was nice enough to contact me, ask me for my address, and send me a Superman comic book in the mail to thank me for helping people out through the channel and through the Facebook group. So I think that is super cool, no pun intended, but thanks so much, Kevin. I really, really appreciate that, and that's why I'm wearing the Superman shirt here for you tonight. So I am going to, by the way, make sure I keep this in a special place and just have it out somewhere so I look at it and remember it. So thank you very much. Anyway, that's really it for today. If you liked the video, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. It will give you notifications that other videos are up and posted. And I really appreciate subscriptions because it also helps to establish the credibility of the channel when you have a higher number of subs. So thanks a lot for everybody for coming by, watching this video, and sticking with it this far. I'll see you at the next video. Remember, keep that routine, establish that routine. See you later, everyone.